wander through the fields when there was no one else I'd comfort you. Your grief has taken many forms.
Welcome back to the show. Today I had the privilege of interviewing Kay Dolores, the singer and creator of Suicide Queen, who along with the rest of her band was on my show back in February of 2024. Their newest release, Crowned in Blood, expands the band's signature blend of heavy riffs, electronic textures, and intense emotional themes. Suicide Queen's work is powerful, it's immersive, and it's unafraid to explore the darkness in a deeply personal way. Kay and I, we really get into it deep as we explore the many themes within this album that we as humans experience every day, from the pleasures to the pain of life. So here we go. Welcome, the lovely Kay Dolores from Suicide Queen. It's been a while. Been a year, about a little over, almost 2 years since you were on last.
Yeah.
The whole band was actually on at that time, yeah.
Yes, and we could certainly do another one of those if ever you want to.
Oh yeah, anytime, yeah. But just having you is good enough.
Okay, well, yes. I'm glad because I'm the only one here right now.
yeah, and
unless
like you're who I want to talk to, because I think you're a brilliant songwriter. I mean, this album, I think, compared, the EP, obviously you had the EP we were on before the Crown, Heart to Seat, the EP. And that was only like 3 songs, right? So 2 of those songs made it to this record. I know
and the other one was just sort of like a re-recording and remixing of an old track that I just felt needed to be a little more what it was supposed to be, and I wanted a version of that song to exist that was the way that I really heard it in my head. So yeah.
Because every song on this album it hits, boom, boom. Like, I mean, it's just the way that it starts with the Butcher, and it's just, I mean, that drum and the production of it. And then
thank you.
My standout track, my favorite track so far is that mellow one, that This Is How the Bleeding Starts.
Oh yeah, one of the last tracks is that
it
one.
Sounds to me like you put a lot into that, like as far as your emotion, the words. I mean
there's definitely a lot in there that I think was a lot of kind of personal sentiment in that song, specifically, I suppose, about obviously my mother, and how I sort of imagined or felt that was how would I call it, her legacy, I suppose, after she passed, and also a sense of,
I kind of got that feeling that you were writing about your mother, like personally.
There's a lot about my mom and on this record, and kind of the last one too. And I also started to think more, I think, about the concept of motherhood in general, and the specifically, I suppose, of this concept of motherhood in America, and the tension of trying to love someone and care for someone and nurture someone, but also prepare them for the pain. To some extent, know that you can't really stop that, and so.
Well, what was your relationship with your mother like growing up?
I'm glad you asked. No, it was a little weird, honestly. Not surprisingly, I suppose. I was really close with my mother, and I think that I was probably, I don't think it's any surprise in the event that my brother hears this as well. I don't think it's any surprise between him or me that I think I was kind of her favorite. And, 'cause, I mean, I don't think it's any surprise between him or me that I think I was kind of her favorite. And,
Yeah.
I think he always kind of got more like kind of yelled at than I did, and he would get in trouble. He was older. He still is older. Not surprised. But he was older, so he would like get into trouble and do stupid things before I even had the chance to. So I kind of had the benefit of seeing like, oh, that's what I should not do before I even had the opportunity to make those kinds of mistakes. So if I was the favorite, it was partly, I suppose, because I had the benefit of forewarning, and so I didn't act the way that he did when we were kids. But you know, I think that after, well, I mean, it's a whole thing between like my parents and how they like to engage in litigation against each other when I was a kid, and that because they split when I was like 2 or something, and then my dad would just occasionally get a little bit lawsuit hungry and sue my mom for custody of me and my brother, which eventually at one point resulted in like just my brother and me being split. So like I would live with my dad, and he lived with our mom. And you know, I think probably that experience of being like forcibly like removed from my mom like gave me this sense of like, I don't know, like, well, forcible separation for one, and the subsequent kind of sense of longing or something like that. You know, I think my mother was in that process. I think my mother was not as shy as maybe I would have, in retrospect, considered it best if she had maybe kept some of her feelings about my father to herself. But she, like, you know, shared that with me and my brother pretty regularly and pretty vigorously.
You were her sounding board in a sense, but not a good sounding board to have. You know?
No, exactly. I mean, she would tell us things like, you know, our father didn't love us and stuff, and like it was difficult for me to see otherwise, because at that time, I mean, my dad was the one that was initiating these lawsuits, and honestly, like, as many fathers compared to mothers are, he wasn't as good at showing emotion or that sort of thing. And he was sort of, he never did anything bad to us, of course, but he was just kind of, I was more scared of him than I ever was my mom. And my mom was a lot more like accepting of who I was than my father. Not entirely, but more so, and more supportive. So it was difficult not to believe my mom, but like in retrospect, I'm like, that's kind of fucked up. Like, you don't tell kids that one of their parents doesn't love them. That's wild.
Unfortunately, it happens a lot too, you know, and that's what, you know, creates that rift in society going forward, you know,
and ended up kind of, I think in my case, making me feel a little more dependent than I needed to be on my mom in her presence. And then, you know, I think that I was able to conveniently, I suppose, not deal with a lot of that until she died. And when I knew that she was going to die, sort of facing that there was a lot unresolved in my relationship with her, and that there was no way at this point that I was ever going to be able to address it, at least not with her. So in a way, I mean, I guess
it's in the music.
Exactly. So, you know, the last record as well as this one, I think continue to probably serve as some sort of processing place for some of my grief for my mother, and the ambivalence, I suppose, that I have towards my memory of her, because I loved her so much, and of what she meant to me, and the safety and comfort that I felt from her, while also knowing that, like, she was little bit of like a very emotionally immature and kind of toxic person who like turned me against my own father. So
that's the thing about moms is like there's nothing like a mother's love, even when it's bad, you know, even when it's not all good. Like, you know, and I can relate because, you know, especially when I did pick that up about a lot of being about motherhood, because I grew up with a mom who was schizophrenic since the day I was 5 years old. I never knew her as being normal. And so it was always her just talking to herself and then going into these weird spells and fits, sometimes throwing me and my little brother around the house because she thought we were doing things to her. So, you know, we grew up with that. And then it's just like, and then when she passed away in 2017, or I think it was 2019 when she passed, and no, it was 2017. Wow. You know, I'm bad with the years, but I didn't feel, I still haven't felt the grief that I guess you should feel when your mom dies. I feel more like, wow, at least she's not being tortured anymore from those voices that she just kept hearing. And so, yeah, it's just kind of a weird upbringing as far as like never knowing, like, you know, and I used to have friends that would be mean to their moms and stuff. I go, at least your mom is normal, you know, in a sense. I would think that or feel that, like, well, at least you have a mom that can take you to school and, you know, spank your butt when you're bad, you know, doing the right way, I guess, or like the TV mom that you see on TV. And,
right, you know, June Cleaver.
Yeah, and I always felt like I was cheated out of that or something. But at the same time, you know, she couldn't help it. You know, my brother took it personally more. Like he kind of disowned her, thinking like, you know, maybe because of the abuse, the verbal abuse and stuff. But he didn't understand that, you know, she was mentally ill, you know. In the 70s and the 80s, they didn't really treat mental illness the way they do today. You know, there's no therapy. It was just like, here's a medication. Let's try that. If that don't work, here's another one. Try that. If that don't work, you know. And it's just like that all the time.
And particularly, you know, like in the 80s, like with Reagan and everything and the closure of all the state mental facilities, you know, it was a really wacky time, I suppose, to try to receive any kinds of care for mental
illness. Yeah, it's true. So this album, man, like I was like the way, I mean, the band is like, you know, it's not shy with like music that's not kind, right? And so what kind of reaction are you hoping to provoke with the listeners? Like I was maybe reading part of the description on your Bandcamp, and it's like it's almost like you want there to be some discomfort when you listen, but in a good way, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
Because it's so emotionally charged, this album.
Yeah. I think
powerful at the same time.
Thank you. I think, that's kind of the idea, because a lot of, I think, what ends up kind of feeding into a lot of Suicide Queen stuff is, and you know, my music in general, I couldn't speak for other people's, but you can hear it in other people's too, for sure. But I can only speak for my own for now. So I'll just say that, like, it's rarely that, you know, I feel inspired to process something that I love. I don't really write when I'm super like excited about something or happy about something or whatever. Although there's some exceptions to that, which maybe we can get to later. But
well, I think it's important that you got to write what you love to hear. Like that's how I am as a songwriter. Like I won't put nothing out if I don't love it. I got to love it. It's got to be something that I can see myself purchasing or downloading or just listening to and loving it. Like, you know, I always want to write the song that I love to hear, and that's how. And then you just you do, and then when you do that, you put it out there, and the audience is going to resonate with it. You know, whoever doesn't, that's life. I mean, there's plenty of music out there to listen to. If somebody doesn't like what I put out, well, there's plenty of songs to like, you know. But,
totally, right?
You wouldn't hear this unless I liked it first, you know.
Exactly, and like, you know, that's why it kind of takes a while for me to, I think, write a whole record. Like, you know, like Nymphomaniac was ready in 2020, but we knew that like putting out a record in 2020 for obvious reasons was not really going to be a great idea. So it waited till 2022, of course. And then we didn't have a new record. I mean, we had a little bit of new music. Well, actually, we had a good bit of new music by 2023. And so I was like, well, I want to at least put something out that shows that, like, I don't know, that shows that we're doing something, for one, and give people a preview of like what's going to come out soon.
Because you're always out there touring and playing and playing shows and stuff, and it's always good to have that new music. But the progression, I was listening to the Nymphomaniac one a while back, and just the progression from that to this. I know it's been 4 or 5 years between albums, but still, I mean, you can hear the progress and the progression that's taken on in that musically. You know, it's just like And I think it's because you're putting more of yourself into it, and making it more personal, because I mean, that's powerful, and that's what it takes to make a good record.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I think, I think that there have been some things that, over those intervening several years, I became sort of a little more able to, I mean, it just took me so long to write another handful of songs that I wanted to do anything with, because I'm so, like you said earlier, you want to write the record that you want to hear, and you want to put out a record that you want other people to hear, because if you get hit by a bus or whatever tomorrow, that's the last thing
legacy,
exactly. So I'm very kind of meticulous about that kind of thing, and that came down to the production too. Like, I probably drove Ron insane sending him all these emails like, I love this, but can you just bring that up just a tiny bit, or do you think you could do you think you could make that tone sound a little more or and oh god, I'm sure that he
so when the songwriting happens, it's like, it's you first, right? You're writing let's say you get a song going like The Butcher, right? And are you writing the whole thing and then sending it to Ron and Scar and seeing if like they going to put their own spin on it, or do you already have it laid out and they just got to put whatever it is that you wrote on it, like the bass line or any melodies or anything?
Typically I have everything done by the time I send something to them, and I'll do a little like demo guitar track on it too, and a little demo vocal track, just so that they can have some idea of what I have in mind. I remember, I think on The Heart's Conceit, I had some stuff in there that Ron was like, well, I think it might be better if we actually simplify that a little bit more. And he was right. So I'm certainly open to those kinds of things. I think I just honestly, I think I get very attached to the thing that I've worked on. And it's pretty difficult, I think, for me to accept that, it's not quite done yet. Someone has an idea that actually is going to make it better.
I'm the same way. That's why it's hard for me to collaborate with people, because it's like, I already know how it's supposed to sound. But then again, it's like, part of being a producer is to be able to, make what works and call it out if it doesn't work. And when you got to do that for yourself, it's kind of hard to, that's why they say it's hard to self-produce yourself, because you do want it just already done. And that's why it does help to have another set of ears. And
totally,
it's just, but at the same time, it's painful at the same time, But
sometimes little bit. Speaking of motherhood, it's like,
right.
I can't. What are you gonna like tell me my kid sucks?
Right.
Because that kind of, sometimes if if you get too precious about your material, it can feel that way. Certainly, I think I was a lot worse about that when I was a kid. So.
Now, do you ever welcome songs from Ron, or do they ever do any writing themselves? And have they done that, presented songs to you, and you're like, I don't know if this is going to work, or
Yes, a little bit.
Does that cause any friction between you guys at all?
I don't think so. I don't think it causes friction, but I think my issue is when I hear an idea, I think, and this is totally my issue, but like, I think when I hear someone else's idea, I don't hear everything else. So I'll hear the drum loop and the guitar part or whatever, and that's a totally like very serviceable way to write. That's how I still sometimes write. Definitely how I wrote when I was a kid in my basement with a drum machine and a guitar. So I'll hear that and I say, that's cool. But because I don't hear the rest of it in my head,
you just got the big picture.
Right. So I think I struggle a little bit with like, okay, here's what we're gonna do with that. Whereas when I start working on something, often I'll hear like almost the whole thing at once, and it's like, oh, okay, I know what this is supposed to be already, and it's just a matter of piecing it together. So it's difficult, I think, for me to really work with other people's ideas, and that's something I probably need to work on because
you'll get there when you get there. Basically, I think whatever's working now is working, and the fact that they're still with you and it doesn't cause any friction to where like, I'm quitting the band, screw you, don't like my ideas. And, but the fact that you got, and I think that's what makes you all such a great unit is that you are able to put this music out together, and you've been together for quite a while, right? This lineup, I would imagine.
I think it's been 5 or something years. With,
and I think Scar's got like another project, doesn't she do like it's the Satanic Witches, or I can't remember.
The Witch Whores of Satan.
The Witch Whores of Satan, which is actually really cool. I've listened to that, and
very cool.
Eventually, at some point. What about Ron? Does he have any side projects, or does he?
Ron cannot stop.
He's got like a zillion. He's like my old drummer Tony. Like it's a zillion bands.
Oh my god, yeah. And so Ron has his own project, Our Graves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I've heard of that.
Which is like, I guess, kind of EBM, sort of like Combi Christ almost.
Yeah.
And he plays bass in a death metal band called Vaselis.
Oh, cool.
I feel like I'm missing something. But he's like, Ron he's such a calm, like methodical person.
Yeah.
And
this is Ron right here, right?
So Ron. Good at just, sorry?
That's Ron right there,
yeah. And like he's just so like well practiced and disciplined about everything that he does. And it's so wild because like I wish I could be more like that, because I would probably get a lot more done and a lot faster. But he's always like working on something, and he's got, he's in at least 3 bands that I can think of. And it's like, how do you not lose your mind? And it's like, well, because he's just like that kind of person who can do that. So it's very enviable and very impressive. And he did all the production on this record, but he also did all the production on his record for Our Graves. He probably did also all the production for Vaselis on their record. And everything he makes sounds amazing.
I mean, the production is phenomenal on it. I mean, like I said, it's like, both. Are you guys ever going to put this out on vinyl or CD or anything, or is it just going to be streaming?
I am glad you asked.
Because I definitely want a CD or a vinyl at some point.
We often get requests about vinyl, and when I say often, I mean like maybe once a month. So the costs associated with producing vinyl are pretty substantial. So
it's come down in some, but it's still up there, kind of like as far as and I thought Bandcamp was supposed to do a thing where they do print on demand vinyl, but they haven't done that yet, which I think that would be brilliant. I've seen that in the works, as far as like someone can buy a record and it's just, and they don't print in quantities, they just print as someone buys it. Now it could be a little bit more expensive than a regular vinyl, but still the fact that they could do it like that, like they do with shirts, that'd be great.
Why not?
I think we're heading there.
I hope so, because like sometimes people really want vinyl for whatever reason. I've never been a vinyl person, but some people really prefer how it sounds, or they like the larger scale artwork. And
with me it's more about like just owning it, because if there's ever a time where streaming goes down, or let's say you get signed to a label that decides to buy that catalog, and then they decide, and there's some legal stuff, and they take it off the streaming platforms. Well, if I have the CD or the record, I own that forever.
Exactly.
You can't take my Suicide Queen away from me.
Right. Yeah. So at least in the shorter term, we're looking at CDs.
CDs would be great.
On Nymphomaniac, our CD sales were not anywhere near our digital sales. So it's a little bit difficult to, I think, what's the word, justify it, but we're looking into like
financially justify it. It's got to, so I say these days it's got to make sense, because there's no regular record labels that could just advance the money or the distribution. If you're not a signed band and you're independent, it does got to make sense financially, otherwise, and but the beauty of having streaming is that you can reach everybody with your music anyway. So
which I mean,
which is how people are listening anyway, most of
largely.
The people
I mean, like so many like devices and stuff like don't even have CD drives anymore. You can't like buy a computer anymore that even has a CD drive, or a car or whatever. So the market for it is a little bit niche at this point, and we're looking at ways to independently produce a run of CDs for people that want a physical copy.
I think you can do it maybe like a GoFundMe or something like that.
That could be a thing,
because then you can actually add like tiers. In other words, donate a certain like $50 or whatever, and then they get the CD plus a print or something. $100 gets a CD print plus this and plus that or something.
Yeah, then, or like I'll come to their house and make them dinner.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like a VIP meet and greet.
If you're in the Southern California area, we can have an eat and greet. Exactly.
An eat and greet, yes.
A look and cook.
Yeah, right.
I'll show up and I'll make you spaghetti. And give you a record, and I'll sign you spaghetti or I'll sign the record. Both. But you have to choose one or the other. I can't sign both spaghetti and the record.
Right.
That costs extra.
Exactly. Do you have your music published by any chance, like through ASCAP or BMG or anything? Do you do that? I think if you guys could do that and get on a soundtrack of some movie, because I mean, you got the perfect music for it. That's how a lot of music gets discovered as well. Like, you know, these shows or these Netflix shows or documentaries, and then to have that one of your songs in there, you know.
Yeah, that would
be. But to get that is you need that publishing, so that way the music directors can find you and then pay you for it, you know.
Right, of course. I see that I am frozen. So I'm gonna just can you still hear me at least?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Like,
okay, good.
You're not frozen on my end. Maybe it's on your side. Yeah.
Splendid. Well, good. Yeah. So you know, that's a great question. Honestly, I'm kind of showing my naivete here because I'm thinking that all might be through a record label.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But I honestly do not know, and I don't even know how to check. So I should probably get in touch with the label and ask.
Find out because whatever deal, if they own the publishing, and then I guess if the music does end up on somewhere, then they're going to reap all the rewards, you know. You know,
maybe
so. You definitely want to own your publishing, but they might own the masters and if the label's putting out your record, obviously, so they're going to own that recording, you know, and because that's just part of being on the label. That's why our stuff is stuck with Full Moon, the Will-O-Wisp album, The Delusions. We can't do nothing with it because although they put it up on Spotify and iTunes recently, but back when it was just on CD, you know, but they have all the masters and stuff, and we just haven't been able to get them back from them. But
that's aggravating. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, this is part of, like, you know, being young and, you know, you get excited. Well, the label wants to sign us, you know, and you get excited and don't even think about the contract as you just sign on the dotted line and realize, oh shit, we should have published those songs and we should have did this and did that, but that's all right.
I guess at this point, fortunately,
just gotta have fun with it. You just gotta have fun and just love what you do. And
I mean, that was kind of always my ethos, was, you know, and honestly, for better or worse, and again, showing my naivete here, like, you know, I never expected music to be the thing that I made money from. And if I did, I never expected it to be very much.
Exactly.
So I never really, I guess, you know.
And I think that's the thing, is you gotta love what you do to be able to get in, to be able to do music and be in a band and write songs, because if anyone that thinks they're going to get rich off it, you know, no, it's like playing the lottery. You know, you might get rich, you might not, but if you're not doing it for the love and for in your heart, then you're just not going to go anywhere with it, you know. But at least that's got to count first, is the love, and it's got to be in your heart, and the money is just icing on the cake. If you get paid well and you're able to live off your music, that's just icing on the cake, you know? Right.
And
you can take money away from you, but you can't take away your talent. You could take money and lose money, but you can't lose your talent. Nobody could take that away from you.
Exactly. And if they try,
if they try,
they're going to,
they're going to bleed very well.
They're going to, they're going to meet my friends who are all alligators.
Yes.
And bloodthirsty ones at that, that are under my command. And,
right.
You know, so it'll be a fun day for everyone, mostly the alligators, but, you know, it'll work out just fine, I think.
Yeah. Right. I want to play a clip of The Butcher.
Okay.
Just want to give the audience a little taste of what to expect when this. Black Allies. Is that what you're saying? Poison as eyes?
What was it? Blood in the mouth and poison for eyes. Yes.
Yeah. That's that cuts deep.
Oh, good. Can you say why?
Oh, just wow. You just picture it, and you know what really cut deep was the lyric that you have in that song. The one we were talking about. This is how the.
Oh, this yeah.
Yeah, the first line, you should have swallowed all of your children. It's like, wow.
Yes.
Or the cunt of God will take your fat. Oh man.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, lyrically, this is a brilliant record, and musically as well. But that bass on the Butcher, the bass in that beginning part, just the way it's hitting with those drums, is that Scar playing that bass, or is that just programmed from the whatever the effect that you're using?
It's both. It's
both. Yeah. She's like overlaying her bass on it. Yeah.
And I think there's a bit of, don't quote me on this, but I think there's a bit of drive on her bass.
Yeah, so I hear that. Yeah.
And it really like gives it this sort of like dirty kind of aggressive sound, which is really when I first heard Scar playing on a friend's project years ago, I was like, oh my God, that sounds so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And that's just what I mean, the way that she plays is so like aggressive, and I love it. And just
when you guys get together for live shows, like, do you guys, because obviously you live in different places at the moment, like, so how often do you get together? Like, how long do you get together to rehearse these songs? And then before you play a show, like, do you meet up like a week before the show or something, or a few days? Because I would imagine you have to like get together first and do some kind of rehearsal for this kind of music, right? Or no?
If only life were so convenient.
If it was so convenient, right?
Yeah, often it will be more like we'll meet up the day before and do a rehearsal just to make sure we don't all, I don't know, to make sure we haven't all forgotten how to play the songs or whatever. I have to say, though, and like the last show we did, which was our release show for this record, we didn't rehearse before that. We just showed up and played together for the first time in a few months.
Which I think I saw the ad for that. Was that on November 21st or something like that?
November 15th, I think. 15th, was the day after the new record came out. That was up in San Francisco. And then, the time we played together before that was in July in Hollywood, and we rehearsed one night before that. We rehearsed the night before. We met up in at this rehearsal space and went through the songs a couple times. And honestly, I sounded like absolute fucking garbage that night. Like everything felt really uncomfortable to me. I had no idea. Like, I don't know what it was, if I was just not like feeling confident or whatever, but I sounded like such trash. And I was like, oh my God, I hope I don't sound like trash tomorrow. And I don't know what was different, but when I stepped on stage and we started playing it, like it was like I was a different singer all of a sudden. Like I actually sounded the way that I, am used to sounding, and not like someone who had been pushed down the stairs and strangled a few times. So, oddly enough, we really don't rehearse that much. At least not the way you might like think a band rehearses like together. Everyone has either the record or the backing tracks that they can rehearse with. So everyone, of course, is able to brush up or whatever on the parts whenever they need to. I guess I could drive out into the middle of nowhere and do that in my car if I felt so inclined. Or I could, rent a couple hours at a rehearsal studio. But honestly, I mean, and who knows, maybe this will change at some point, but I just don't really ever, I mean, I think before, when we were all local to one area, we would rehearse every week or something like that, and that was awesome. But I don't know, I guess I just have found that it's less necessary than I thought.
And if it's working, then that's what all that matters, really.
Yeah, and I guess a lot of that maybe is due to our like heavy use of backing tracks and stuff. So there's no there's no uncertainty about like, oh, which part happens next or whatever, because the backing track will remind you.
Definitely.
And so if you're rehearsing,
yeah,
it's very structured, and there's no like real improvisation. There can be little bits of like, I play this a little differently this time, or I deliver that line a little differently, or I change a lyric or whatever. But it's not going to be like we're going to do an extended jam on a track or something.
And that's the thing about industrial is that a lot of people like there's a controversy about bands using backing tracks, and I think if a rock band or a metal band relies on backing tracks, and that's not very cool, because it's like they should play it live. We want to hear some feedback. But when you're hearing your music, which is industrial, everything's got to be tight and on that mark, so it's understandable that you would need backing tracks for that, and as long as you're not lip syncing and faking it all, but because you're not faking it, you're playing to that music to make it sound the way it's supposed to sound, because there's a lot of those sounds you can't create on a real instrument, basically.
That is very true.
Or like the type of drums that you're using, and
yeah.
Can you imagine using an acoustic drum on The Butcher? It would sound weak.
Like our former drummer Tony was amazing, and our previous drummer Mark was also amazing, and they both added a lot to Suicide Queen, and we loved having, and I guess I should say I don't know. I think that the band and the live performance was pretty exciting, having a live drummer playing just acoustic drums. On the other, so it absolutely does work. It adds, that sense of liveness. And I really like it. On the other hand, there's also something to be said for the prominence of loops and synth drums and samples and stuff. Like, if you listen to something like Ministry's Psalm 69, which is all programmed drums, it sounds amazing for what it is, and then you go and see the show and it's an acoustic drummer, and that's awesome for what it is too.
True, very true.
But if you could imagine, like, if they had just decided to record a drummer on Psalm 69, it would be a totally different record, and I don't know if it would be
hit as hard.
Exactly. And so I think they're both really cool. I would love at some point, we sometimes, like, I don't know, we occasionally chat about like about possibilities that I guess I shouldn't go into, because then it'll curse us all, or at the very least jinx the possibility. So
a little superstitious, huh?
Oh, you never know.
Yeah.
So I just figure, if that ever happens again, I'll be happy about it. And on the other hand, if it doesn't happen again, that we have a live drummer, it's okay, because the genre that we kind of function best in has never really been one that depends on live drums. Like Skinny Puppy could have gone their entire career without ever having a live drummer, and it would have been amazing. And so
very true.
I'm pretty flexible, I think, on that, and I have a lot of love for both approaches, really. So I'm good either way at this point. In fact,
you make it work either way, and that's the beauty of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you guys ever played I don't know if I might have asked you last time, but have you ever ventured up here to Portland and played any of the clubs up here, like the Coffin Club, which is like the premier goth club here, that everyone goes to? I think you guys would fit perfect in that.
Oh yeah, we would love to. I mean, so the short answer is yes, we would love to. The longer answer is no, we haven't.
The logistics.
And we would love to. And the logistics make it very difficult. When you have, 3 schedules to synchronize, and then the 4th schedule being the venues. And a lot of interests to juggle, it can be a little bit difficult. That doesn't mean, though, that it's impossible.
It's not impossible, but it's definitely on the horizon, as we could say.
Yeah.
What about Bar Sinister? When's the last time you all played there?
That was July. July of this past year. I'm sorry, not July of this past year. July of this current year. This past July of this year.
Yeah, this year go by so fast, so it's hard to think of it as this year, because
oh my god, right?
Feels like it was last year.
Yeah.
What's that crowd like? The Bar Sinister crowd these days?
Amazing. Just like every time I've played at Bar Sinister, whether it was, with Suicide Queen or my old band, or any other band that I've done like little this or that with, it's always amazing. Like, people might say that LA is this or that or whatever, and that LA crowds are that hasn't been my experience at all. And it's also true of like other bands that I've gone to see in LA. Like LA is it's
always going to be LA pretty much. I mean, it's going to have its changes, but it's always going to be the heart of it is always going to be there. And
I think so. And like people don't live in LA because they don't like art, or they don't like music, or they don't like going to stuff. Like it's one of the cool things about living here is that almost every night, if you want to go and do some cool thing, if you want to support an artist, like if you want to not stay home, there's always something cool. And that's not true in a place like St. Louis where I grew up, like, that would be, you'd have to, you'd wait months and months and months for, anything particularly exciting to roll around that was actually worth putting the effort into going to.
I do miss living there. I remember it was like just any time at night you can go walk Hollywood Boulevard, and if there's something going on or something to see or something to do, or
so very lucky at this point, I think, too. Be able to be here and be able to be a creator here, but also to like just be a fan here, because like I've seen like so many great shows. So many. I haven't seen a lot of shows, but every one that I've gone to has been something that I probably wouldn't have been able to see, like even in San Francisco, because tours started to, even when I was still living there, tours started to kind of pass through there and not consider San Francisco to be one of the necessary stops. So, I've seen in February I saw King Woman at the El Rey. They were amazing.
Oh yeah, I remember the El Rey. I've seen some good shows there too.
And that neighborhood is wild. That Miracle Mile area, wild.
Isn't that where they did a Club Makeup? Do they still do it there? Do you remember?
I honestly don't know. That might have been before my time.
Before your time, there's really
in one
cool
way
stuff.
or another. So I saw them. Then in, what was it, July, I saw Sophia Isela. She was amazing at the Troubadour.
Oh, nice,
Yeah, I saw Ethel Kane at the UCS, was it? I'm sorry, CSU? I don't even remember. But it was at the Shrine Auditorium, which falls under the auspices of some university that I'm forgetting, sorry. And then a friend just like invited, I was so weird. It was so crazy. Like, I don't know how I qualified for such like a nice thing, but a friend of mine asked me if I wanted to go to see IMX, who I hadn't seen in a while. And I used to really love them, and I hadn't seen them in years. So, my friend asked me if I wanted to go with her, and we went to see IMX at the Terragram, and I was just like blown away. Like, and so, would I have been able to go and see these artists that I really respected, in somewhere like St. Louis? Absolutely not, probably. I'd have to go to Chicago at least, and then, in San Francisco, it'd be maybe 50-50. So I think we're really lucky here.
Has Suicide Queen ever played the Whiskey or the Troubadour anywhere on the Strip? Or would you like to play those clubs if you could? Or?
Oh, I would love to. We were supposed to play, I think it was at the... was it the Whiskey or the
the Whiskey
Rainbow or the Viper Room or one of those places in our tour in 2020. But of course, 2020 was what it was, and that never happened. So
COVID hit.
The answer remains no. Sadly enough, I love the Troubadour and the Whiskey, and
those are always my two favorite places: the Whiskey and the Troubadour.
So cool! Like those rooms are so amazing. And
the Roxy's good too. We played the Roxy with Christian Death when the Valor version of Christian Death, and that was a good night and good stage.
Where was the Roxy? I don't know if that exists anymore.
It should still be there. I think it's a club that's right between the Whiskey and the Rainbow. It's basically right next door to the Rainbow. It might have a different logo now. I remember there used to be the Key Club, which is on the other side of the Rainbow. which the Key Club used to be. Key Club used to be Gazzari's back in the 80s metal days or whatever. And then
alas,
when Will-O-Wisp first moved there in '90, we had played the Gazzari's right before it closed down or turned into the Key Club, and that was kind of our first gig. And it was like 2-man band, as me and my drummer, and like, oh, 3 or 4 people in the crowd. You had to play those kind of slots. So when you first move there, or when you first breaking on the scene, you got to take those 1 a.m. slots, whether there's 3 people or 2 people, and you got to put on a show as if you're playing to 1,000 or 2,000 people,
or
because those 3 people are going to remember you, and they're going to tell their friends, and then that 3 is going to turn into 6, and then 9, and then 20, and then
that's the hope anyway.
You got to put in the work.
You can get so lucky. Yeah, I know. I think I'm trying to remember. I looked up the Roxy, and I think it's still there. Shows.
Yeah, it should still.
Is it on Sunset?
Yeah, it's on Sunset. It should still be there. I mean, it's a legendary place. I think if it would have closed, it would have been like the whiskey. If a whiskey closes, that's going to be world news.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure the Roxy's still there. It might, maybe they changed the logo or something, but
that could be. Yeah. I'll look into it a little bit more. But yeah, the short answer is no. The only place in Hollywood we've really ever played is Bar Sinister. We've played there so often, and I love playing there, and I love the management there.
Would have been cool if you were around back in the day when Helter Skelter was happening. Your band would have definitely went over well in Helter Skelter.
Well,
playing with like London After Midnight or something like that.
Yeah. I don't even know what they are. That was, London After Midnight, funny band. Not funny band, maybe. I don't know. I shouldn't say that, but
it's weird because they're so popular and they've been around forever, but you don't really see nothing from them. Like, I remember they ruled the Strip at one point, and I think we tried to play a show with them, and the show got canceled or something at one point. But I mean, I liked them because when I first moved to LA, our band was kind of glamish looking, and then when I saw a picture of Sean Brennan, I was like, man, that looks fucking cool. Black lipstick, and then that's when we started going to more goth look. And and when I heard the song Sacrifice on the demo, I was like, wow, this is a brilliant song. It's like the melody was just perfect. And, so I was a fan for a while, but then I kind of got lost track of them when they got more into the industrial stuff, because I just feel like they weren't doing industrial the way you like to hear industrial. I don't know. It just didn't sound right. I think they should have stuck with the straight gothic sound, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
But they're still, they were, like I said, they left a mark on that scene. And,
certainly. And, I guess regardless of, I don't know. I mean, that was a band that like I was introduced to when I was like 14 or 15 or something. And I loved them at that point, and then eventually it was sort of just gave way to like Sisters of Mercy and Susie Sue and
Who would you say your major influences were, like musically? Like, who do you say? Like, I know you mentioned Ministry and Skinny Puppy. Is that kind of the bulk of like your inspiration for the sound of Suicide Queen? And
I would say that Ministry is definitely one of them for sure. Like Ministry, and every now and then Skinny Puppy. Skinny Puppy was a bigger influence, I think, for me when I started the band than it is now. But definitely Ministry is always probably going to be one of my biggest bands that I just can't sort of escape how they've affected how I think about music to some degree.
They're brilliant bands.
Raymond Watts and Pig are a big deal for me. And that's probably why like there's a lot of sort of like these orchestral elements in Suicide Queen. Other people that are like huge deals to me. You know what? I have my phone right here. I can just look things up instead of trying to use my brain.
Were you ever a fan of Marilyn Manson at all? The music?
I was. I was. I was a huge fan.
I can never really ever. I mean, I liked, I guess, his image or whatever. I thought like he was cool on stage and stuff, but I just can never get into his voice, or maybe just the way he sings. Not the way he sings, it's the phrasing, and just, I don't know, just kind of doesn't go anywhere for me. It's like, okay. But
I totally get that. I was huge into him when I was a kid, and my mom actually took me to see him on the Hollywood tour, Guns, God, and Government tour. I was like 13 years old. And I was so amazed by that production. It was just like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it's happening like right in front of me. And
the theatrics,
it was very like Broadway almost. Like it was so crazy. And like, in
other words, he did for you at that age what Alice Cooper did for guys my age or older than me or whatever did for them, like that, just seeing that type of theatrics and the makeup and the darkness of it. And
exactly. And I think that that's kind of one of the things, I suppose, that's been exciting for me most about being alive. I think it's almost like what David Bowie said, like I always had some terrible need to be more than human. And when I saw Marilyn Manson, or when I saw Rammstein in like whatever that was, 2001 or something, it was like it's always sort of been like, it always told me that you may be some dumb kid from St. Louis County, but you can actually be anything you want to be. And like you can create a life and create a production, create an image, whatever it is. You can create art, or you can turn yourself into art, and you can make your life bigger than maybe you thought was ever possible. And
through art, you can create someone else's happiness or sadness. It's just through the artist. So not only are you creating art, you're creating an emotion for somebody else that you don't even know that's miles away or that you never met in your life. They hear or see what you've done, and you created that emotion in them.
Absolutely.
From afar.
Or maybe just gave them a place for their emotion.
A place for their emotions. To feel what they need to feel at that particular moment.
Or feel heard or known or understood in some way. I was into Manson then, but his music really turned to garbage.
Although it's like his latest music, it sounds, I think because he's sober now, so he actually sounds better. But
I'm sure that helps. I have a difficult time even listening to like his older stuff though, or I haven't even listened to the new record. I've heard a couple singles from it, and it's like
same here.
Okay. But and I guess I shouldn't try to speculate on anything because we weren't. I don't know. I just
as far as the allegations and all that stuff he's going through, it's kind of weird how all that kind of disappeared, and even though it's like and then he's got a new label and he's doing, but there's it's just weird.
And like
because there's so many different complaints against him, and then they just all kind of like just like what's going on, it's like
right. I don't know. I mean, my inclination is to especially given the kinds of behavior that he did not try to hide, you wonder maybe like if that was what he found to be okay and okay with talking about, you wonder is it possible that these allegations against him constituted the sort of behavior that he felt he could not talk about, or that he knew was so bad that he couldn't even talk about that and get away with it from the point of view of being like a sensational crazy rock star or whatever.
That's true.
That was like what was unacceptable, and he knew that. So I know that like there's some debate as to whatever, and there's never really been obviously he's never been, like, as far as I understand, and maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I know, there haven't been any like verdicts about that sort of thing.
That's what I was saying. It's kind of weird how it's just all kind of quietly disappeared in a sense, but
I mean,
think whatever he did, if he did do anything, he should be held accountable no matter what.
Right. And if it were a situation where, I guess, I don't know. I mean, like you mentioned, he's sober now, and that's really great. And he seems to be, from what I can tell, like really happy in his life now. And he has this wife who seems to be really great for him, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it would be nice if, I guess, from a place of sobriety and strength and whatnot, he could look back and at least say that he did things that he wasn't proud of.
Some kind of apology to whoever it was he did hurt, in a sense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even if it never results in any sort of legal whatever, like, I guess,
just own it in some way.
Exactly. And I have a difficult time, believing that none of it is true. Again, because, it's like, the volume, for one, of,
that's true.
Allegations. And then some people say, oh, well, it was, that one person tried to pay a bunch of other people and whatever. And it's like, well, okay, that could have happened. But, what about this thing that he actually talked about doing or whatever?
And he might have been well off financially, but it's not like he was so rich that there's going to be people just making stuff up just to get his money or get. It's not like he's Michael Jackson or Bill Cosby, like but Bill Cosby obviously did it, but Michael Jackson being accused because of the stuff because he was so rich and he paid off that one family as a settlement, but still there were people that went after him specifically for that, and I can't see that with Manson. It's like there obviously something happened with some of these girls or these allegations, and even though we could just speculate at the same time, but it's just, to me, it just seems obvious that something went down, but some reason it's kind of flying under the radar now,
And I mean, especially for someone who was so into drugs for so long and surrounded by sycophants,
that stuff just goes with the territory.
Sadly, there's just megalomaniacal behavior that lends itself to treating other people as disposable trash. So anyway, I'd say we've spent enough time talking about him.
Right. Move on, Manson. Get out of here. So what are we looking at as far as the future of Suicide Queen? We got this album. Has the reception been really good? As far as, have you been getting the feedback or like any like reports on sales or downloads or anything?
I don't really pay attention. You don't really pay attention, to that kind of thing. I'm sure,
and you shouldn't even have to, because that's just like, you put it out there. All you can do is hope that it's doing good. It's sounding like it is when you read comments on the YouTube and when you post things and.
I don't even listen to, or I don't even look at comments on YouTube. For the most part, if people like it, wonderful, and if they don't, fine.
And like I said, I always say, hey, if you don't, there's plenty of music out there to like.
Right. Yeah. So I don't. What matters, I suppose, a little bit more is what people that I actually speak to, or that I have some kind of communication with or whatever. What they have to say, and that could be, people I've never met, but maybe they're at a show or something. It doesn't have to be like my personal circle or whatever. There have been plenty of people at people I don't really talk with much, or whatever. Or some people that are closer to me that take a listen to the record and they basically say the same thing that I was already thinking. So I guess that's sort of some kind of confirmation that I've done my job of making a collection that functions as a statement or a piece altogether. And that I think there's some great music. I think that, well, I shouldn't say that. That sounds a bit egotistical, but there's some music I should say I'm very proud of on Nymphomaniac.
But you should say it out loud and be proud.
Well, thank you.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'll let other people decide if it's great music, but there's definitely some that I have been very pleased with. And even if I wrote those songs like 10 years ago or whatever, I'm just like, I'm still pleased with it, still happy about it.
I always feel like it's, no matter how old the song is, it's always new to somebody.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
somebody discovering it, like, it's always new to somebody.
Yeah, and even while my own tastes, I suppose, have kind of changed since then, and I, listen to a lot of different things than I was back then, I could still listen to those songs, or I could still play those songs and perform them, and say, I'm still really happy this is a song that I wrote, and isn't that crazy? I wrote this. So that's whatever. But I'm very, I'm really proud, I think, of some of the more, I guess, subtle or complex territory that we cover on this record, and the more subtle and complex, I think, aesthetics that we've explored on this record, the more diverse influences that are on this record that give it, I think, a different vibe, not only because the production is so much different, but also I think that, I don't know, just whatever I was listening to, watching, feeling, experiencing, etc., conspires in a way to make this, I think, a more sonically, musically interesting record.
It definitely is.
Thank you. As well as a more lyrically interesting record, partly because I suppose, like we were talking about at the start, that I've just been, I think,
do the lyrics come first, or does the music, or is it just does it just kind of happen when it happens? Like, you might have a riff or a song or a loop or whatever, and that it might inspire the lyric, or does the lyric inspire the music?
I think,
Like, do you have a whole thing of lyrics already written, and then you just find songs to kind of go with them, or you just kind of write on the spot with whatever you feel? Mix of everything,
yeah, it's kind of chaotic in a way. Like, Switchblade Mouth was a track that I wrote in 2015 or something. And
that's a good song too. I love that song. Yeah.
And I don't, so some things, they come out of the woodwork eventually. And that applies also to the components of songs. I'll have that little piano outro in Your Grief Has Taken Many Forms. That I wrote in the basement when I was 15 years old, on a guitar and a drum machine playing at 160 beats per minute or something.
Damn.
And it was a chord that I was just picking out, arpeggiating, and then at some point I was playing, and this was on a cassette 4-track, and at some point I played it back I was recording at normal speed, or I'm sorry, I was recording at high speed and played it back at normal speed, and then dropped it to half the beats per minute and to an octave lower, and it made all the drums and the guitar notes sound really kind of weird and dark, and just it totally messed with how, and it was instead of sounding sort of energetic and almost Sisters of Mercy-esque, old school, First and Last and Always kind of, but instead it made it sound I don't know, there were ghosts in my house that were playing old broken instruments, and I never had a place to put that until I was working on Grief a couple years ago, and was how does this song end? And, I think I know what goes there. And I recreated it in MIDI, and I'm okay, this is how that goes. So, there's that. I think also that happens with a lot of lyrics. There will be, a lyrical idea that I come up with one day and I write it in my notebook, and maybe it finds a home in a month. Maybe it finds a home several years from then, or it goes through so many iterations and edits and stuff. I think there were aspects of the song, The Heart's Conceit, that I think that I lifted and kind of messed with from a track that I wrote in 2018 or something, that never ended up becoming a thing. But I still had some little concepts from it that I was ooh, I kind of want to keep those. And so it's stuff like that happens all the time, and rarely does it start with a piece, move to the next piece, until everything fits together like that. It's so rarely a linear situation. It's more just kind of Well, I had this piece that inspired me one day and a piece that made sense another day. And eventually they all kind of coalesced and made sense together. And then I decided it sucked and I rewrote it all and screwed it up halfway through the whole thing. And now it sounds like this.
Right. Did you ever have any musical training? Like, do you know, like any type of music theory or anything, or basic music theory?
Yeah. I played piano for a little bit when I was a kid. And that was 6-9 months or something like that. But I really wanted to play the guitar. So I somehow convinced my parents, who for whatever reason were so stuck on this idea of me playing the piano. But, you know, I convinced them to let me play guitar instead. And, you know, I took guitar lessons for years. From like the time I was like 11 to 16 or something.
So, you know, your chord progression. I noticed like in that song, this is how
the bleeding starts.
The bleeding starts. It's C minor to B flat major. That's the first thing I hear, and that chord progression has been used in other songs, but it's such a great chord progression because the melodies that you could work over that are just, it's endless. It's like going from minor to major to the major, endless melodies, and even though you can write like 4 or 5 different songs out of that one chord progression.
I mean, the Cult wrote their entire catalog out of it.
Right, exactly, And
then I think it's also different key, but
different key. That's how I was hearing it in my head.
Right, they're always going D, C, G for like what is that? That's She Sells Sanctuary, Rain, Nirvana, basically. Firewoman, basically. And you know, then Chris Isaak comes along.
That's what I was saying. It's almost like it's pretty much the same chord progression as the Chris Isaak song.
Or like Mazzy Star's Fade Into You, I think. Wait, no, that's a little different. I'm sorry. But it's the same thing, but it's like it starts halfway through. It starts on the 7 instead
when
of
I was soloing over it with my guitar, and I was like, oh, it's like a Dorian mode. I could play the Dorian scale in that one, as opposed to just the Aeolian or the whatever the mode, the typical minor mode. That's so funny. I used to know all the modes and stuff, and I used to. The beauty of it, you learn it, right, and then you just got to forget about. Like I always say, you got to learn some music theory, but just forget about it when you're writing a song, because that way the song comes from the heart, and it's just going to naturally. You could always analyze it later, you know.
Sure.
You got to come it out. Got to just have to let it come out first, and then let other people analyze it and figure out what it is, and like if they want to transcribe it or put it in the tablature or whatever.
Yeah, and they can say what it is.
Exactly. Because music is about what we feel and hear inside, you know, in our inner ear. And
no, Eric, it's about how many modes you can play and how fast you can play them, and how much distortion you can play them
sweep
through.
Picking and everything.
Yes, it's about sweep picking and
more and more, like Yngwie Malmsteen.
It's about two-handed tapping. It's about it's about whammy bars, and
metal,
and maximum beats per minute. It's about I mean, I love that kind of stuff. When I was a kid, I was into Ozzy and Yngwie and all those sort of like things you listen to when you're an aspiring young guitar player and whatever. And I was decent at it for a bit, but oh my god, I can barely. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I did play a little guitar on this record.
I noticed that. I think I read that you played some guitar on that song. This is how the suffering, and then also the Heart's Conceit.
On Dust, I played a little bit. Because I just felt like that part needed a little extra movement, and it reminded me so much of Sister Machine Gun that I was like, you know what this needs? I think it needs a little like something like Sister Machine Gun-y. And so I just plugged in my stuff and messed around for a bit. And honestly, I think I probably recorded some really garbage playing, and then Ron fixed it. So that's to say that I can't claim to be particularly technically proficient at this point. One of the great joys of working on computers and synths and stuff is that you don't really need to have that kind of, you know, muscle memory and stuff built up in your fingers. And although you could say something for the value of that, and that's great and everything, I just don't think that ultimately it matters, because what really matters is what the listener hears at the end of the day. And if you do that by, you know, programming in whatever so
Yeah.
what? Like,
exactly.
Music is music, and how you play it doesn't really matter so much as what the listener hears and hopefully likes.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. It's all about the listener and hearing it, the song. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on, Kay.
Oh, it's been a pleasure being on. Thank you so much for having me.
You've been so wonderful, and
well, thank you.
So anything you want to tell the fans of Suicide Queen before we wrap this up, and like things you got coming up, going on, any shows?
We have a few things coming up. We're playing in San Francisco on Christmas, as usual, with Carla LeVay for her Black Xmas show.
Okay.
And Carla's always been very good to us, and we've been doing that event for like
cool
9 years or something, minus a couple in 2020 and 21.
Cool.
So she's a really nice, very colorful person, and always happy to work with her. And then in January, February, and March, we're looking at a string of things. Let's see, January, Santa Cruz at the Box.
Oh, cool.
February, Berkeley at this new place called Spats.
Okay.
That was created by the same people that created the venue, the Golden Bull in Oakland, which we used to love. And I guess it's shut down, which really sucks. But they opened a new venue. It sounds awesome. So they want us to play. We're going to play. It's going to be great. And then I think in March we're playing in Petaluma at the legendary Phoenix Theater. So that'll be fun.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, we're also like starting to look at creating some new merch, which is fun, and hopefully have some new little sticky things and weary things for people that like to stick things and wear things. And also, of course, looking into maybe producing CDs in a short run to see if people might want some of those.
Well, I'll be one of them. Definitely.
Okay.
Yes, I'll be definitely first one to buy it.
Good. Thank you.
And I'm going to put this in the description of this video so everyone's watching. Click on to where to get Suicide Queen's music. The thing about it was funny, like I don't know if Facebook started doing this recently, but I tried to pull up your page on Facebook, and it stops me. It says Suicide Hotline and this and that, and you have to sort of click through that to get to where it shows where your page is at. And then on TikTok, and on TikTok, I was trying to promote like just your music and stuff. Like it doesn't let me add anything from your Spotify or iTunes, how like the background music, because TikTok is like no anything with the word suicide. Come on, you guys got to be able to separate that shit,
right? There's bots, not a lot. I mean, there's not a great deal that you can actually access. I've noticed on TikTok, it's like a very limited array of sounds, and I don't even know like how those come to be available or not on that platform. Instagram seems to tie pretty specifically to synchronized, or what's the word? Oh my God, what's the word? Syndicated media. So stuff that's on Spotify or iTunes or all the sort of streaming things that are, they seem to just kind of derive from one central source. And so that's awesome. But if you look for Suicide Queen on a lot of platforms, it'll give you resources. Or if people mention your band Suicide Queen to you in a message, it'll like bring up a little like if you need help kind of thing.
Which is kind of cool because it's like you're doing a public service and you're promoting the band. So
exactly.
It could be that person that could be going through something and they're looking you up and then okay, So
I mean,
it's got its pluses,
Exactly. Like, it's better that it be there for people that it's better that it be there for people that both need it and don't need it.
Exactly. Then everyone knows somebody who might need it,
Exactly. So it's a little bit funny because, people just go like looking for my band and they get, it's like the ghost in the machine thinks that they're, in crisis. So it's a little bit like, you just wanted to look for a band, but now, Facebook thinks that you're in danger. But on the other hand, I don't know. Hey, I guess I would rather I would rather that than the alternative, I suppose, which is that, you know, the ghost in the machine doesn't give a shit. So
exactly.
Good, at least that the machine gives
the ghost in the machine gives a shit. That's what we
know. The ghost in the machine gives a shit, and
yes.
that's yes.
That's a new song right there.
Or for someone, I don't know.
Yeah,
if it's
right.
a song for us.
No, definitely not.
Maybe for Weird Al.
I think so.
But yeah, so that's what's on the horizon right now. We're also looking at hopefully playing some festivals in the US, maybe Canada this year, if they see so fit. And what else?
What's that Gothic festival that goes on every year again? The real popular one.
WGT?
Yeah.
Germany? You know, we played that a couple years ago. It was so great. It was such a great experience. It's expensive, though, I have to say, to get even 3 people over to Germany for a few days. It is not cheap. And right now, honestly,
Then there's the other one, the Cruel World, right? That's another kind of festival that goes on every year. That'd be a good one for you guys.
That's decidedly more feasible for us at the moment.
Yeah.
That's in Pasadena. So, and Pasadena is so beautiful. And I would love to do that. I don't even know how to get on that. I should look into it. I made a list of
they probably have I'm sure like most festivals, they have like a buy-on for like bands who just want to pay for a slot, and which is good because it's an investment in a sense. I don't know how much it would cost to buy on, but if you're playing in front of 20,000 people or whatever, then you got a lot of merch you're selling, you can make that money back, and then you're also going to gain fans, so
right. So you know,
always an option.
Never excited about paying to play, but
you
know, that may be
only
how it is.
Only if it's going to repay back at least in some form, whether it's more exposure or something, like, because everyone at some point pays to play at some point, but
there's truth to that for sure.
Somebody's paying somebody, or someone's paying,
and
but you should always get paid to play no matter what.
I mean, I would love to think so. So that's kind of what's up this year.
Cool.
You know, I think Ron and Scar are both working on stuff with their respective other projects as well. Every so often I do a little bit of work on a solo project that'll come out whenever.
Cool.
And what else?
Well, I'm looking forward to whatever it is you got coming up, no matter what.
Well, thank you so much. I am too. I think what I am kind of most excited for, though, is, what I'm hoping is that this record I'm hoping that this record touches people in the way that I suppose I felt while I was writing it.
Yeah.
And there's like there was, I should say, and still, hard to say. But such a range of experiences and emotions went into writing this record.
Yeah.
That it's difficult to say what an overarching sentiment is that characterizes it. But I don't think that I don't think that the things that I explore on this record are particularly personal, or at least not in that they're unique to me. I think that they are personal, but they're not singular for sure. So I hope that the same way that I was touched by whether it was artists like Ministry or those kinds of people that gave a voice for the anger that I felt at different parts in my life, or you know, it was someone more like Chelsea Wolfe, who...
Oh, yeah. I love Chelsea Wolfe, yeah.
Who I feel like kind of gave a voice to the sense of sadness and fear and grief that I've had at other points. I hope that, I suppose, I hope that I am...
That you leave that for somebody, right? Like somebody
Exactly.
who's going through.
Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to phrase it. I think that's probably perfect. That I hope that if I'm able to give something to people that plays a similar role for them or has a similar effect on them, that makes them feel understood and that invites them to feel the way that they feel. But you know, what I'm most looking forward to, I think, is hopefully hearing that this record has been meaningful to people. Obviously not to say that I hope anything bad happens to other people so that this record can be meaningful, but just knowing that bad things happen and people hurt.
Exactly.
I hope that those people that need it,
that they find that comfort through it.
Exactly. Yes. I hope that they find what they're needing, and I hope at least I have the privilege of hearing about. I hope I have the privilege of hearing that this record has been helpful.
Yeah. Is there a video in the works?
Yes, sort of, but also absolutely not. You know.
I think a good video would be cool.
I think so. You know, we would love to do that, and I'm sure that we will. There are no concrete plans at the moment. But we've talked a little bit about like, we should do another video, because we have a few things that are sort of like collages of this and that include some like live footage and some like abstract stuff going on. Like we had a video for Your Grief Was Taken Many Forms that was created by Vivian K. Quintero, which is really awesome. And I would love to see some more stuff for this new record, because there's some very videogenic, shall we say, music on here that I think would
like I said, every song just hits differently and perfectly and there's something on there for everyone to and if you could tell that story through a video, it's even be amazing.
I agree.
But you got time to do that, because this album's gonna live forever.
Well, thank you. I hope so. You know, I plan to live forever, so the record will too. And that means that, you know, I'll never run out of time to make more stuff. You know, I think death is overrated. It's not really very highly rated, but no matter how poorly rated it is, it should be rated lower. Because there's a lot of cool stuff to do, and I don't really want to lose out on any opportunities to do cool stuff. And it seems like you know, staying alive forever is probably the way to ensure that you don't miss out on all the cool stuff you could be doing. So I'm gonna do that. I've opted out of death already. And embrace. Good. So, you know, we'll be doing this for another 1,000 years.
My theory is with AI, they're going to create a way where we can all live forever, and it's going to be a way where our consciousness will just live on through. Like, in other words, if you think about the robots that are being made, how they look so lifelike, there might be a time where they can actually put our consciousness into one of those, and we'll just live like that. But we won't be human, but it'll be us in there. Our energy.
A ghost in the machine, if you will.
A ghost in the machine, but
absolutely. Like, I'm okay with that if that's what it is. I think what I prefer, though, is like piece by piece replacing these fragile human tissues with synthetic and superior analogs. Like, why is it that we have to deal with the limitations of, say, human skin or whatever, right? We could replace that with something better that, you know, it doesn't have all the downfalls of skin.
That's true. We're getting there.
We are. And you know, I think if that's how I achieve immortality, I'm into it. I'll do it. I'm into it. I'm signing up right now.
Me too. I'm down there. I'm down with you on that.
Oh, good. Good.
Let's do it. On that note, I want to wish you well.
Oh, thanks. You too.
And,
Thank you for having
I
me.
want to wish you all the success with this record, and wish you all the success with this record. I know it's, like I said, I mean, people get out there and get this, listen to every song, and like I said, every song, it's a perfect 10 out of 10 record.
Thank you.
And I don't say that a whole lot about records. You know, there's always one or two songs that are skippable. Of every when I hear a record, it's like, but this one's like I couldn't skip any song. It's like everything is great.
Okay. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. That's sort of always a concern, is that I've put some mediocre crap out into the world.
Yeah, there's no fillers, as they say.
Good. That's the perfect amount of fillers. None.
Yeah, exactly. Right. All right, everyone. Alrighty. So it's been a pleasure, and horns up and peace out, as we say.
Indeed.
Right.
Alrighty. Well, I'll see you later.